Hello everyone. Today we are going to create a new project called check password strength, which basically allows the user to validate their password strength based on the multiple factors such as 8 plus characters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, and 12 plus characters. Based on each validation, it also provides the user's suggestion what can make their password to be much stronger than the previous one. So starting from there, first we start from the index.css file, which is imported in the main.jsx file, setting our root elements in CSS such as font family, line height, font weight, and color scheme, and color validations. After that, we are going to set our box size as border box and do some CSS properties for the body such as margin, display place items, and background, so that our background of the box should look clear. Also, we are going to create a background image which is of a grid type with the help of CSS properties such as radial gradient, linear gradient, and again a linear gradient. Then later we going to set to the passwords, background size 100%, and the background positions, then the background attachment. Then we setting the root elements. Then coming back in the main.jsx, we are calling the app.jsx file. So deleting it and reinitiating the app.jsx boilerplate code, we are going to import a new element called new component called password strength checker in the app.jsx. So as you can see, we have created a new component called password strength checker in a new folder called the same name. So coming to the password strength checker, inside the component we imported the CSS file and created a new class called strength checker card, means a card which will hold our all components, and setting its CSS property in the CSS file, such as background width, max width, and padding, etc. Then coming back to the JSX file, we going to create a title. So first, let me complete the strength checker card, where we are setting the font to families such as different. Then here now we are in the JSX file. We are setting the title with the help of h1 tag. So in the CSS file, just to initializing the CSS properties for the title such as color, font size, font weight, margin, and margin bottom, text shadow, and something else. Then coming to the JSX file, we are creating a new input container which will basically holds our input box, which allow the user to type their password. So now creating the input with the class name as password input, a type of text field for now. Later we will convert to the password field based on our ternary conditions. I hope you know about the ternary condition. If you don't know, please watch my React one shot video linked in the description. So in the CSS file, first we are setting the password in, means the CSS properties for the password input box with the such as width, background, border radius, padding right, colors, body, font size, outline, transition. You can watch it and code it simultaneously in your Visual Studio Code to make the app functional. Then also we are setting the focus properties so that whenever it comes into the active state, it should show some different CSS property to the user, so that user enjoys the app UI also. Then we are in the JSX file, we creating the icon group where we going to display our eye icon. So first let me set to the CSS property in the CSS file. Then coming back to the JSX, we first create a new component for the eye icon inside a new folder. So let me complete the first eye icon component. Inside it, we are creating the first boilerplate code, and let import the eye icon in the password strength checker. After importing it in the eye icon component, create a SVG element so that we can display a eye icon with the name of eye icon. In the CSS file, first let import let's to decide the CSS properties for the eye icon such as width, height, color, cursor, and transition color 0.2 second is and with hover properties. Then if we go back to the icon JSX component, we are setting some more properties for the SVG file such as viewbox, fill, stroke, width, and stroke, line join, and line cap. These are the important properties for the SVG. And inside the SVG, we are just copy pasting the path. If you need the path, you can find it in the code given in the description. So then after importing the icon into the password string checker, we are creating the segment container. Inside segment container with the help of empty array, we are creating the 5 lines of the segment so that whenever user types the password based on the criteria satisfaction, it should show how much the password has satisfied the conditions or how much password has become strong. For example, if the password has become 20% strong, then it will complete only one line, then 40% two lines, 60% three lines, and so on. After that, we are creating the strength header class inside which we will display the password strength text and its percentage. For example, if the password is strong, then we will display strong, very strong, then very strong 400%, weak 20%, very weak 0%, uh, respectively. So yeah, as you can see, we have created a span for the strong means the text field and percentage. After that, we are creating the container grid, which will going to display the different criteria to the user. So we will create one same class for all criteria. So name as criterion, which will display the first criteria is 8 plus character, so it will display the 8 plus character. Let's decide some CSS properties for the criterion class, such as background, border radius, padding, display, align item, font size, and later spacing. You also know about these, how to decide or how to code all of these CSS properties. So after deciding means coding, we just create a one dot class before each criteria text. So for the UI purpose, so that it looks good to the user. And in the CSS, defining it with height, border radius, background, with margin, transition, and color, background color, such as. Also in the CSS file, we will create a criteria.met class so that whenever any of the criteria satisfy or password matches that criteria, then it should show some different condition or different UI look to the user, such as changing its color to green if it satisfies the criteria, both text and dot as well. And so following the same class, we are creating the different criteria such as uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, and the 12 plus character for the string. So after the criteria class, we are creating a box for suggestion so that if password didn't satisfy all of the criteria, so that user get the suggestion and can make its password strong based on the suggestion. So first is creating a suggestion dot class means for the UI purpose so that it looks good and its CSS properties. Then coming back to the JSX, we decide create a suggestion text box where user will see the different text based on the suggestion or password strength matches to the different criteria. After completing the UI, we are going to create a states called password and set password so that when going to connect it with the input box so that whenever user push or type any password inside the input box, it can be saved or stored inside the state in our component. Also, we are forward to code the placeholder here. So now you can see we are setting our class name based on the ternary operator. If it is show password is null, then it is text field. If it is not empty, then it is password. Also, you can see we are passing our props to the eye icon as show password and on click operation. So that whenever the eye icon is clicked, so the password will become true, will become visible to the user. It is clicked back, then it will become again not visible to the user. Then in our for the backend, we are creating our new field called criteria, which is a dictionary type. It includes keys as length, which validates the password length based on the 8 characters uppercase, whether it includes uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols, checking whether the password includes lowercase number and symbols respectively. Also, for the strong password, we are validating its length, 12 length characters. After that, we are creating our new function called get strength score, which is of arrow type function. So inside it, we are defining our variable called score as 0 and increasing its value based on whether it satisfies a particular criteria or not. So if it satisfies the criteria, then we are increasing its value by 1. If it's not, then we are not increasing. And then we are returning the score. So also we created one more variable called score, which stores the value or score of the password. And based on the score, we are going to give the value to the segment field so that we can display the segment based on the score. For example, if password satisfies only one criteria length rate, then it will show only one line, 20%. If it satisfied the two criteria, then its value should be 2 and it should show the two segment line. You will understand when I will give the demo in UI. So after decide setting the value for the segment field based on the score value variable, let to create a new variable called get segment label, which is also a arrow type function. It includes the score as 0, means basically based on the score value, it is returning the label, color, and the percentage value. If the score is 0, then label is very big and the percentage is 0. But now you can see we are creating a new one based on the segment field. If the segment field is 0, then very big with the same percent 20. If segment field is 2, then weak with percentage as 40. And if the segment field is 4, sorry 3, if it is, then it is a medium type and percentage 60 with the different color coding. If segment is 4, then strong with percentage is 80. And if the segment field is 5, segment field is going to be 5, then its value uh, label will be very strong and percentage will be 100 with the different color coding. At the end, we are returning it. So to store that the value of the strength, we are creating one more variable called strength, inside which we will store the strength label of the password. So based on the strength level inside the segment container, now we are displaying the color to the segments. So if the I value, which is iterated over the array, if its segment field means if it is less than the segment field, then its color will be strength color, otherwise its color will be black. It is done by using the ternary operators. And say we are designing its another CSS properties box shadow. Now in the strength header, we are also defining the style properties of the strength label and strength text based on the strength value and strength percentage and the strength label. What we are getting from the function. And also based on the strength value, we are also basically attaching a class of met, adding a class of met to the our different criteria. So so that whenever password satisfy the different criteria, it should include the class met so that it should show the different CSS property to the user or make the UI much better. And at the end, we are making our suggestion box also to be connected with the strength variable, strength on variable, you can say variable or a state. So if its percentage is 100, then it should show the different color coding. If it's not 100, then it should show the different color coding, basically a red or green. And for the value, we are creating a new function called get missing requirement, which basically include the particular variable whenever it is not satisfy the particular condition or particular criteria. For example, if it's not satisfy the lowercase criteria, then it should will include the lowercase value. If it is not satisfied, the uppercase criteria, then it will include or push the uppercase variable or a value. If it's not satisfy the number, then it will include the number in the suggestion box. If it's not satisfy the symbol, then it will include the symbol in the box suggestion box. Or if it's not satisfy the length 8, then it will include the length 8 in the message box. So in that case, we have created one array inside which we are checking every criteria, and based on every criteria we are setting its value. We are including every value, lowercase, uppercase, symbol, numbers, 8 plus character, and also checking for the 12 plus characters. So the condition is if missing length is 0 and criteria length is not, means if the length is greater than 8 and the less than 12, then for that case we have added another, we just provide another suggestion, add more characters for the next step. And also checking if this criteria satisfied, then we will just display password means all required. And at the end of the function, we are just returning that the password has matches all. Means we are just showing everything, every message in the suggestion box. Now in the UI, you can see as I am typing the different password, the different criteria becomes in the box, and the suggestion fields become green. And you can also see that suggestion box also displaying a particular message to the users. If you like the video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. So please consider like subscribing the channel. Thank you for watching.